Welcome back to Tyler Medeiros TV. As Halloween approaches, many of us love to venture into the woods for some seasonal fun. But sometimes, those adventures take a terrifying turn. Tonight, we explore 10 chilling stories where Halloween adventures in the woods become nightmarish. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure you subscribe for more. Our first story begins with a group of friends eager for a Halloween camping trip in the forest. They set up their tents and planned a night filled with ghost stories around the campfire. As the night deepened, they decided to hike deeper into the woods, armed only with a flashlight and bravado. While wandering, they stumbled upon an old cabin, seemingly abandoned but still standing. Intrigued, they decided to explore. Inside, they found old photographs of previous occupants, but something felt off. As they left the cabin, they realized they were disoriented. None of them could retrace their steps. After hours of wandering, they finally found a trail, but it led them back to the cabin. Frightened, they decided to spend the night inside, hoping for morning to bring clarity. As they sat in silence, they heard whispers echoing through the woods, calling their names. Just before dawn, they discovered the photographs had changed. They now featured the friends, and in each image, a shadow loomed behind them. The next morning, only 2 of them made it out, forever haunted by what they encountered. Next up is the tale of a couple, Jake and Emily, who visited a local pumpkin patch on Halloween. It was a chilly night, and they decided to explore the maze created from the hay bales. The maze was known for its twists and turns, but as they ventured deeper, they noticed something strange. Jack-o'-lanterns that seemed to glow brighter the further they went. Suddenly, they found themselves lost, the maze seemingly shifting around them. As they turned a corner, they stumbled upon a clearing filled with grotesque carvings of faces on pumpkins, each one expressing horror. Terrified, they tried to retrace their steps, but the path had vanished. In their frantic search for an exit, they discovered an old, rotting pumpkin at the center of the clearing. To their shock, it whispered their names. Panicked, they fled, but the whispers followed them. When they finally escaped, they realized they had left behind their shadows, forever trapped among the cursed pumpkins. Story 3 follows a group of college students who decided to throw a Halloween party deep in the woods. Far from civilization, they set up decorations and lit a bonfire, ready for a night of fun and frights. As the party kicked off, they shared scary stories, each one darker than the last. As midnight approached, they played a game of truth or scare, where one girl, Sarah, was dared to venture into the woods alone. Armed with only a flashlight, she walked away from the noise of the party. The forest quickly swallowed her screams, and her friends waited nervously for her to return. Hours passed, and she didn't come back. Worried, the group split up to search for her. They followed her path, only to find her flashlight flickering in the clearing. When they reached it, they found her standing completely still, staring at the trees, whispering to someone unseen. They tried to snap her out of it, but she didn't respond. Suddenly, the trees around her then seemed to come alive. Their branches reached out as if to grab them. In the chaos, Sarah vanished. And when they finally found their way back to the party, no one believed them. To this day, her friends wonder if she ever escaped, or if she became part of the forest. In a small town, there's a notorious stretch of woods known as the Witch's Forest, and it's said to be cursed. A group of teenagers, eager for a thrill, decided to explore it on Halloween night, determined to prove the legends wrong. As they entered the woods, they found strange symbols carved into the trees. Ignoring their unease, they pressed on, only to hear distant chanting echoing through the trees. They stumbled upon a clearing where they saw a fire and shadowy figures dancing around it. Curiosity got the better of them, and they approached the gathering. Just as they got close enough to see, the figures turned, revealing twisted, grotesque faces. Terrified, they ran, but the woods seemed to conspire against them, leading them deeper into the forest. Eventually, they found a hidden path that led them back to safety, but as they looked back, they noticed one of their friends was missing. The others searched frantically, but he had vanished without a trace. In the following weeks, he began to appear in the woods, whispering the names of his friends in the chilling wind, forever lost to the forest's dark magic. Story 5 takes us to a haunted hiking trail known for its beautiful views and terrifying legends. A group of friends excited for a night hike packed their bags and set out under the moonlight. As they walked, they told stories of the ghosts that haunted the trail, an apparition seen by many who dared to walk it after dark. As they reached the halfway point, they noticed the temperature drop significantly. Shadows began to dance around them, and they felt an eerie presence lurking just beyond their flashlights. Suddenly, they heard the sound of footsteps behind them, echoing on the trail. They quickened their pace, but the footsteps grew louder, almost mocking. Turning a corner, they encountered a figure cloaked in darkness, standing silently. Terrified, they attempted to flee, but the figure blocked their path and the air grew thick with dread. Just as they thought they would be trapped forever, they stumbled upon an old signpost that had been hidden in the underbrush. The sign read, "Turn back or join the shadows." The friends didn't need telling twice. They fled in terror. The figure was never found, but they swore they could hear its laughter echoing through the trees long after they escaped. A group of campers decided to spend Halloween in a secluded area of the woods, hoping for a night filled with stories and camaraderie. As the fire crackled, they began to notice strange symbols appearing in the trees around them. Dismissing it as tricks of the light, they continued their stories. They realized that one of the members of their group was acting strangely, laughing at inappropriate times, and staring out into the darkness. They decided to investigate the source of the strange symbols and ventured into the woods. The further they went, the more the woods felt alive, whispering their fears and secrets back to them. Suddenly, the lights of the campfire flickered out, leaving them in utter darkness. Panic ensued, and they rushed back to the campsite, but it had vanished, replaced by a thick mist that surrounded them. One by one, they became lost in the fog, hearing each other's terrified cries fade away. When dawn broke, only one camper emerged, forever marked by the curse, reliving the horror of that night. In our next tale, a group of friends decided to explore a famous echoing cave in the woods, said to hold the voices of those who perished inside. On Halloween night, they made their way to the cave, eager to hear the eerie echoes. Inside, they played games, laughing and teasing each other until someone suggested they call out the names of the lost souls. As they did, the echoes responded, but not with their friends' voices. The cave echoed back chilling cries and desperate pleas for help. Suddenly, the ground shook and rocks began to fall, forcing them to retreat. They realized too late that they had awakened something dark within the cave. As they escaped, they heard the cries grow louder, now pleading for freedom. Each friend felt a cold breath on their neck as they ran, but only 4 made it out. Years later, the survivors still hear the echoes in their dreams, wondering if they inadvertently brought those lost souls back with them, forever haunted by their calls. In a town where Halloween was a sacred tradition, a group of friends set out to prank their fellow townsfolk by spending the night in the notorious Spooky Trickster's woods. Legend said that the woods played tricks on anyone who dared to enter on Halloween. As night fell, they set up a camp and began to play tricks on each other, from fake spider webs to jump scares. But as they laughed and shared their stories, they soon noticed the woods growing eerily quiet. The laughter faded, and they felt eyes watching them. Suddenly, they were pulled into a series of bizarre and frightening illusions. One friend saw a horrifying creature emerge from the shadows, while another was chased by an army of animated pumpkins. They tried to escape, but every path seemed to lead them back to the center of the woods, where they could hear a sinister giggle echoing around them. Our next story centers around a group of friends who ventured into the woods to find a rumored forgotten graveyard, said to be the final resting place of those who died in a tragic accident decades ago. Excited by the prospect of uncovering local history, they armed themselves with flashlights and a sense of adventure. As they trekked deeper into the woods, they followed an old overgrown path, and soon the air grew thick of unsettling silence. After what felt like hours, they stumbled upon crumbling headstones, half buried in leaves and vines. The names were faded, but one stood out. Anna, beloved daughter lost too soon. Feeling a chill, they decided to pay their respects, but as they touched the grave, the temperature plummeted. Suddenly, they were engulfed in a fog that obscured their surroundings. From within the mist, they began to hear a soft, mournful crying, growing louder until it turned into anguished screams. Panicking, they tried to leave, but the fog closed in tighter, disorienting them. One friend caught a glimpse of a ghostly figure emerging from the grave, reaching out to them. In a frantic rush, they broke through the fog and fled, but as they exited the woods, they realized that one of their friends was missing. Weeks later, they received a message from her phone, simply reading, "Help me find my way home." They never did. Our final tale is about a group of thrill seekers who sought to test their courage by camping at the site of an infamous witch trial, which occurred centuries ago. Legends told of a witch who cursed anyone who disturbed her resting place, particularly on Halloween night. They set up camp near an old stone altar, unaware of the dark energy that surrounded them. As night fell, they began to feel an inexplicable sense of dread. Around midnight, one of the campers proposed they summon the witch using an incantation they found online, thinking it would be a harmless prank. As they chanted, the atmosphere shifted, the wind howled, and the ground trembled. Suddenly, the sky darkened and a figure appeared. An ethereal woman dressed in tattered clothes, with eyes filled with rage. She screamed a curse at them, causing the very earth beneath them to shake. Fearing for their lives, they scattered, but the woods seemed to twist and turn, trapping them in a labyrinth of darkness. Each friend faced their worst fears, manifesting around them, visions of their past, wrongdoings, and failures. One by one, they began to disappear, swallowed by the shadows. When dawn broke, only one friend emerged from the woods, forever changed. Haunted by the witch's curse, he often hears her voice whispering in the wind, reminding him that some spirits never rest, and that the witching hour holds power beyond comprehension. And there you have it. 10 chilling stories of Halloween adventures that turn terrifying in the woods. Each tale serves as a reminder that the woods can hold secrets best left undiscovered, and that Halloween night is not just about tricks and treats. Which story sent shivers down your spine? Let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed these haunting tales, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more terrifying content. Until next time, remember, stay curious and keep exploring the unknown.